Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful people, welcome back to another episode. My name is Talon Fakalak and we love to play video games. Today what I'm going to be doing is going over what are the best cards to equip for Saber characters in Hero Showdown and how can you improve your game to be able to win all your duels. So, starting off, V. The best cards for V, right here. There's Furious Resilience, alright? Furious Resilience is amazing because whenever you're playing V, you want to have this card, or I should say, you want to have this ability always active. And this just benefits that ability a little bit more by reducing all the damage that you take while it's up. Being able to pop Dominance or Focused Rage when you get into a duel just gives you the go-ahead to be as aggressive as possible. Second card you're going to want to equip is Bonus Health. Vader is already very strong. He has one of the largest health pools in the entire game. This just increases his health up to 950 and makes him absolutely insane. The third card I highly recommend is going to be the Choke. Now, I know a lot of people like to run There's No Escape or Intensified Lightsaber Throw. However, I will say from personal experience that lightsaber throws in this game are very inconsistent, and Punishing Grip makes it so that when you do get the Choke off, it is that much more intense. It gives you an opportunity to set up for a lightsaber strike as a follow-up, or the ability to do a lightsaber throw. Moving on. Next character for a Saber is Kylo Ren. Now, Kylo Ren, his greatest ability is gonna be his Frenzy, especially when you're doing a duel. Now, I will say, Power of Darkness is definitely incredible to use in tandem with Bloodlust. So, Power of Darkness increases your lightsaber damage for 6 seconds after using Frenzy, so it makes follow-up damage even more incredible. All the shots that you do register for a lot of damage after using Power of Darkness, and in tandem with Bloodlust, making it so that your Frenzy attack deals more damage. Pushing this button to activate Frenzy, it guarantees that you're going to have one hit go through. And if you have already waited out, for example, I'm going to call out Luke Skywalker and Anakin, those area of effect pulses need to be out of the way before you toggle your Frenzy. And it'll just make it so that way you're able to capitalize on somebody's misfortune. The next one I like to use is Harsh Pull. Harsh Pull is fantastic because it gives you additional damage to capitalize on somebody who is already trying to regenerate their stamina, or perhaps is dropping their guard from a distance. When you're able to use Harsh Pull, it does enough damage to where the next follow-up swing, where you should be able to hit the opponent mid-air, is going to register as permanent damage. Moving on. Luke Skywalker. Now, this is up for debate for the third ability. I will say I have been playing between Intensify and Rush Immunity a lot, and I can argue the fact that Intensify is going to take the win here. But for the best cards, Epicenter, you're definitely going to want to run this. Repulse has an internal ring that is guaranteed to hit for follow-up damage. So if somebody has their guard up, you will punch through that. And it is fantastic for when you deal damage to somebody and they're getting more defensive and they're holding their guard up, that you're able to prevent their health regeneration for as long as possible. Next up, you're going to want to run Jedi Fighter. The damage that this card can do is absolutely incredible. When you block, it makes it so that you don't lose stamina, and your attacks as well are reduced, so you can follow up and hit for a long time. It gives you the stamina that other characters just can't follow up with. Next up, I run Intensify. The reason for this is because there are characters like Dooku, Grievous, and Vader, all very large health pools, very large health regen. Being able to slowly ramp up your game and increase the amount of damage that you do over the course of a fight makes it so that when the shots do go through, they register for a lot. Now, I will say the trade up for the third card, a lot of people like to run Rush Immunity. Rush Immunity is a great card. However, when you're playing against better players, they capitalize on your dash. So whenever you use this Rush, you're susceptible to damage, whether or not that's a parry or an ability. I know a lot of the times I have fallen ill to Dooku because he'll shock you as you're dashing in. Vader will choke you. Maul will throw you. Building around this makes you more aggressive, and I would almost say it makes your gameplay too aggressive for Luke to be melted. That being said, if you want to run it, go for it. Darth Maul, there are 3 right here, guarantees. Lightsaber defense is one of them. I know it says receive less damage from blasters, but it also gives you almost like a rush immunity for Maul's dash, his spin. And it doesn't mention that in the card, but it is a passive, and it is fantastic to have. Fool Me Once, faster regen on abilities across the board is just insane for follow-up aggression. Maul is one of the fastest, most aggressive characters in the game. You should play him as such. And then the next one is Accelerated Throw. Deal more damage. It's a more violent throw. It's fantastic. I mean, it just stacks up damage. And in tandem with 10% reduction on the throw, you're going to be throwing your lightsaber like every, I don't know, 8 seconds. It's very quick. It makes him a very fast follow-up damage character. With Rey is one of the greatest duelists in the game, and the reason for that is balance. So balance gives you an extra dodge ability. Much like Dooku, you'll have 3 dodges at the cost of increased stamina. But with Street Fighter equipped, it will reduce that stamina drain by the exact same amount you're losing. So you get a 3rd dodge. And if you play this correctly, you can dodge, swing, dodge, swing, dodge, swing over and over and over again. And this will, if correctly timed, make it so that you're always dodge swinging. And you're just so fast that if you try to target going behind the enemy every time you do your dash, you will really catch them off guard. They cannot keep up with the speed of Rey. And to overall cap off the build with a nice little cherry on top, if you hit somebody with Mind Trick, and I know it says immobilize targets, but when this is currently running on a target, it makes all damage that they receive an increase of 15%. So Rey overall is just quick, and she hits hard. Yoda, the Green God. All right, opposing the dark side is definitely one you're going to be writing. When your strikes hit hard, it's really important that they register over time, because Yoda is one of those fighters that constantly, his whole goal is to prioritize never letting the enemy regenerate their health. So that way, when you do your dash, you want your dash to hit and hit hard. To increase Yoda's ability for tankiness, Yoda's Jedi Mentor is fantastic. 8% less damage overall is going to increase your survivability. And then to top that off, size matters not. When the bonus health of presence is depleted, it'll heal for 50% of the damage that it received. So I like to use size matters not as an opener. So that way I have the ability to be more aggressive, just like Vader's ability. However, I will say if you are at half health and you have presence available, I like to pop it and then take free damage, or, you don't have to if you want to run the fight very quickly, but allowing yourself to take a little bit of damage with presence will give you more health back. They call it Heal Yoda for a reason. It's very strong. You should definitely try it. Next up, we've got Grievous. Grievous has 3 really good abilities, and there's a trade up. You could change momentum for Sith trained. However, I find that Grievous's stamina is already pretty bad as it is, and this just makes it horrible. So we're going to stick with what we got. Beating Heart is incredible. Increased health regeneration allows you to be more aggressive, allows you to take, a couple hits before you have to kind of slow up on your offense and kind of switch more into a defense. That being said, this just gives you the ability to kind of recuperate from missed opportunities. Flesh is weak. Every 10% of the health you're missing, your health regeneration is slowed down, but your damage received is also reduced. And this makes it so that you're very tanky. When you're at half health, you take 25% less damage, which is fantastic. And the health regeneration, latency is not really a big deal when you have the ability to crawl. Crawl gives you like a little bit of freedom. And then momentum. Thrust Surge deals more damage. I will say Thrust Surge is incredible. If you're catching a Jedi running away or trying to heal, anytime that they jump, it's kind of their loss, and this just makes it hit harder. Thrust Surge, a lot of the time can be blocked, but I will say more often than not, they go through. Next up, we got Mr. Obi himself. 2 best cards in the game for Obi. Jedi Resilience, regen, increased by 100%. This makes it, on top of what he already has, be able to lose over half of his health bar and go back up to full health. It is absolutely incredible. The next one I like to run is Safeguard. Blocking increases your stamina pool. I should say decreases the stamina cost. This just makes it so that when you're in long-term fights with Obi-Wan, he can really outshine the opponent in stamina. If somebody's getting more aggressive, this allows you to get aggressive. Eventually, when you do have that 40% stamina cost reduction, you can just start throwing shots at the enemy's guard just to completely destroy their stamina and just overpower them longer in the fight. If Obi-Wan gets to the point where his stamina is reduced by 40%, you're going to win the fight. And then I like to run forward for the increased defensive rush damage. This just allows you to keep the pressure on the opponent. And anytime you get choked or displaced, pop defensive rush out of the gate. So that way, anytime somebody tries to follow up with opportunity strikes, you can hurt them back. It really is a counter punishment. Now, this card could be swapped out in exchange for Think It Over, because the 140% increase in time for Restrictive Mind makes it so that way the opponent almost can never use their abilities in a fight. And I will say almost never, because there is a brief period of time, but it's a very slim window, that by the time Restrictive Mind Trick wears off, you're already off cooldown and ready to use it again. Pretty incredible. Next up, we've got Dooku. Now, I will say you can trade Duelist for Finesse, which is the reduced stamina drain, but I think this is the way to go. So for Sith Controlled, increase your health regeneration pool. Much like Obi-Wan, you can lose almost half your health bar and regenerate all the way back up to full health with this card. It's very powerful in duels. Next, guaranteed, you gotta run this, is Last Seconds. Lightning Stun has a faster recharge rate by 4 seconds. This just gives Dooku the uptime to be able to constantly punish any sort of dash, movement impairing abilities. This is a fantastic card for even dashing behind the opponent and shocking them to capitalize on a couple follow-up strikes. And I say Duelist is a fantastic card because Dooku already deals a pretty incredible amount of damage with his strikes. Having this card makes it so that it just hits a little bit harder, and Duelist has a very long uptime. So being able to punish the opponent for not necessarily defending against strikes that they should just makes it so that they're punished aggressively. And then last but not least, Anakin, the best cards to equip, massive strikes, increased stamina costs, increased lightsaber damage. This makes it so that every shot you do registers very hard, and if you follow it with Steamroll, eventually what's going to happen is you're hitting harder and you have 15% reduced stamina costs. Longer fights for Anakin are definitely advantageous. Build up your stamina cost reduction, and then you can parry and counter the opponent aggressively. But this means that you also don't want to come out of the gate screaming. It just depends on who you're fighting. And then, of course, Attraction at the end. Highly recommend this card for being able to capitalize on somebody who's maybe taking a step back, trying to regenerate their stamina. The 5 times greater range on this card makes it so that you can just absolutely punish people. And if you have a Boba Fett in your lobby or any ranged character that you're fighting against, this will really help you overcome a blaster type character as a saber. And that's going to wrap it up for today, folks. I hope you really enjoyed the build. 1v1 Heroes saber fights are fantastic. It's a great game mode. I highly recommend it for anybody. And if you want to go into your battles confidently, knowing that you have the right cards, this is going to give you the edge that others might not have. So thank you so much. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace!